The galaxy was quiet, too quiet. Among the countless stars and planets, life thrived in pockets controlled by the Grand Alien Alliance, a coalition of ancient empires who believed themselves the rightful rulers of the stars. For millennia, they had fought wars, built massive fleets, and explored systems far beyond the edges of the known galaxy. Every corner, every asteroid belt, every barren moon was catalogued, claimed, and controlled. Yet in the outermost edge of the Cathari sector, a small uncharted world sat hidden behind a curtain of dark matter. No star maps noted it. No explorer had reported it. For centuries it had gone unnoticed, as if the galaxy itself had forgotten it. That was about to change. Elder Vanar, one of the oldest scholars of the Cathari species, stared at the readings on his holographic display. The planet's surface was littered with structures, gigantic stone rings rising from the ground like monuments to some forgotten god. Towers, tall and broken, jutted into the sky, and beneath the ruins, energy signatures pulsed faintly, almost like a heartbeat. "This is impossible," muttered Vanar, his voice barely audible. No record of any civilization here. Nothing in the archives. Nothing in the history books. His assistant, a younger scholar named Lyria, tilted her head as she examined the scans. Perhaps it was a small civilization, one that never reached space travel, she suggested. Vanar shook his head. "Look at the scale. Look at the technology embedded in these ruins. These are not primitive structures. They were capable of interstellar travel. And more, I feel like they left something behind, something waiting. The ruins seemed to call to them, though the aliens were unaware that the call was not meant for them. At least, not yet." A fleet of Cathari ships descended slowly, their engines humming softly. Archaeologists, scientists, and military escorts disembarked, scanning the area with precise instruments. The air was heavy with curiosity and a faint sense of unease. None spoke of the rumors among the Alliance fleets, whispers of an ancient species called humanity, long thought extinct. Vanar led his team through a wide stone archway that had survived centuries of erosion. Inside, the walls were covered in inscriptions, etched with a care that suggested artistry as well as intelligence. The symbols were unfamiliar, but their patterns suggested star charts, planetary alignments, and messages. Lyria activated her translation device, hoping to make sense of the symbols. Words slowly appeared. "We are the architects of the stars. We have seen your rise and your fall. Beware the paths you take." The words caused a stir among the Cathari scholars. None of them could explain the message. It was not written in any known language, nor did it resemble any ancient dialect. It was human, Vanar realized, though he had no proof yet. "Beware the paths you take," repeated Lyria. Why would anyone leave a warning in such isolation? Vanar's eyes narrowed. Because they expected someone to find it. Someone curious enough to awaken what has been sleeping here. As they explored further, they discovered something even stranger. Deep within the ruins, a circular chamber had walls embedded with faintly glowing crystals. They pulsed rhythmically like a heartbeat, sending soft vibrations through the floor. Sensors confirmed that the energy readings were low but consistent. Something, perhaps a system, perhaps a message, was still active. The Cathari military advisor, General Tharek, frowned. "Are you saying this structure is alive?" "Not alive, at least not in the way we understand life," Vanar replied. "But it is aware. It is observing, and it has waited a long time." Outside, the twin suns of the planet began to set, casting long shadows across the broken towers. The ruins glowed faintly in the dying light, their pulse steady and almost comforting, yet comfort was the last feeling that should be felt here. That night, while the Cathari team camped near the ruins, strange patterns appeared in the sky. Small, bright lights flickered across the stars, moving in ways no natural phenomenon could explain. Lyria pointed toward them, her voice trembling slightly. "Vanar, look, do you see that?" The elder scholar adjusted his vision implants. Tiny dots of light were arranging themselves into shapes that mirrored the inscriptions in the ruins. Star maps, constellations, planets, and a final symbol he did not recognize. "They are trying to communicate," Vanar whispered, "but not with words. With patterns, with geometry, with history itself." The team realized that the ruins were not a relic. They were a message, waiting patiently for anyone who might understand. But understand what? That question lingered in every mind like a shadow. Over the following days, Vanar's team scanned deeper and deeper, uncovering more structures buried beneath the surface. Each building, each ring, each crystalline device pulsed with the same quiet energy. Nothing could explain how a species long thought extinct could leave behind systems so advanced. The tension among the aliens grew. Scholars argued with generals, and generals whispered about weapons. If the species who built these ruins had been powerful enough to create this technology, could they return? Were they hiding somewhere in the galaxy, waiting? Vaynar, however, approached the situation differently. He moved carefully, avoiding the hasty assumptions of his colleagues. He studied the inscriptions, the architecture, the faint pulses of energy. Slowly, a picture began to emerge. These ruins, he realized, were not merely buildings. They were records, warnings, tests. The creators had not simply disappeared, they had left behind something far more significant than mere structures. Late one evening, alone in the central chamber, Vaynar placed his hand on one of the glowing crystals. A wave of information flooded his mind, not words, not images, but feelings and impressions. Vast cities among the stars, ships traveling faster than thought, knowledge of planets that no living alien had ever visited. And finally, a sense of patience. The creators were not gone. They had left, but they were watching. Humanity, he whispered aloud, the word tasting foreign on his tongue. He did not yet know what it meant, but he knew that somehow, everything in the galaxy had been waiting for humans to leave and return. Outside, the alien fleets continued their patrols, unaware of the truth. They believed they ruled the stars, that no other species could challenge their dominance. Yet in these silent ruins, the galaxy had quietly begun to tell a different story, a story of a species that once rose among the stars, leaving a legacy that even the greatest empires had failed to erase. Vaynar returned to his quarters, his mind racing. Dreams came to him that night, dreams not his own. He saw humans standing on distant planets looking up at the stars with calm determination. He saw cities of light that stretched across worlds, and machines that moved with purpose beyond comprehension. And he understood something that would haunt him for the rest of his life. The galaxy had believed it was silent, but in truth, it had been listening all along. By the time dawn broke, Vaynar had made a decision. He would study these ruins, learn from them, and prepare for what was coming. The Alliance's arrogance would blind them if they did not act carefully. Humanity's legacy was not a myth. It was a warning, and perhaps a promise. And somewhere in the deep void beyond the known systems, faint pulses of energy continued their steady beat, as if echoing the thought, "We are still here. We are watching. And one day, we will return." The galaxy remained silent, but for how long? The ruins had begun to speak, though not in voices the Cathari had ever heard. Elder Vaynar had spent countless hours studying their patterns, their energy pulses, their inscriptions. Each day revealed something new, a map, a symbol, a story hidden in light and stone. Yet the more he learned, the more he realized how little he truly understood. The alien fleets patrolled the outer reaches of the sector, their ships glinting in the cold light of distant stars. General Theric had grown impatient. "We cannot spend weeks on a single world," he complained during one of the council meetings. "If this species was truly dangerous, or if they still exist, we are wasting time." Vaynar looked at him steadily. "Danger does not always arrive as an army, General. Sometimes it waits, sometimes it teaches, and sometimes it observes." Theric scoffed but did not argue further. He could not deny the strange occurrences on the planet, the way the ruins had seemed to move in response to the alien ship's sensors, the patterns of the stars projected by the crystals, the faint but consistent energy pulses that seemed almost alive. A new team of alien scholars arrived, more curious than fearful. Among them was Lyria, a linguist from the distant world of Cythera, whose expertise lay in decoding ancient languages. She pored over the inscriptions with a delicate touch, tracing the carvings with long fingers. "These are not ordinary records," she said quietly. "They are warnings. And not just of events that happened in the past, they are warnings for the future." Vaynar leaned in. "Explain." Lyria gestured to a star map etched across a curved wall. Lines connected distant systems, some long dead, others flourishing under alien rule. "Look here," she said. "These are not just maps. They are markers. Each one represents a human colony. And here," her finger hovered over a cluster of stars shrouded in darkness, as a place they marked as dangerous. It is not destroyed, but avoided. They left instructions. Instructions for whom? Asked a junior scholar. For anyone who comes after them, Vaynar said softly. For the species that follow in their steps. The revelation spread quickly. Within hours, more alien fleets arrived, drawn by the mysterious signals the ruins emitted. Some came out of curiosity, others out of fear. Whispers of humanity passed from ship to ship, growing louder with each report. Many dismissed it as legend, stories told to frighten children. Yet the evidence on the planet was undeniable. It was during one of the first night shifts that the team first heard the voice. Not a voice from a speaker, but one that seemed to flow directly into their minds. It spoke in no language they recognized, yet they understood it perfectly. We once reached for the stars. We built, we fell. We return when the time is right. Do not forget us. Do not claim what we left behind. Vaynar shivered. It is a warning, he whispered. Not a threat yet, but the meaning is clear. Someone or something is waiting. And it knows we are here. General Tharek grew alarmed. If this is a trap, we are walking into it blindly. I say we destroy these ruins, erase whatever remains, and leave this system. Vaynar shook his head. No, if we destroy it, we will never understand. If we learn, perhaps we can survive what comes next. The Council of Alien Leaders was divided. Some advocated immediate destruction, fearing unknown technologies. Others, mostly scholars and historians, pleaded for study. In the end, Vaynar's calm logic persuaded enough of them to allow continued investigation. Over the next several weeks, the scholars uncovered more evidence of humanity's past. Massive starships had once traveled the galaxy, leaving colonies on planets now barren or in ruins. The aliens had assumed these regions were naturally empty, but the maps told a different story. Systems had been carefully chosen, resources managed, civilizations guided. Humans had left markers on every planet, hints of where life had flourished and where danger had forced them to abandon worlds. It was Lyria who discovered the most unsettling evidence. Hidden in a crystalline archive, a faint recording flickered to life. A human voice, calm but firm, spoke in a language no alien had heard before. Yet the translation devices translated automatically, conveying meaning without hesitation. The galaxy is a garden. Tend it wisely. Some paths are safe, some are not. We have left signs. Follow them and you may prosper. Ignore them and you will fail. The scholars were stunned. Many whispered in fear. The humans were not extinct, as all had believed. They had retreated, but their reach extended far beyond the ruins. Somehow they had left systems in place, waiting for others to notice, to understand, to act correctly. Vaynar felt a chill. They did not vanish, he said. They prepared. They waited, and now, they are watching. Outside the planet, alien fleets began to sense something even stranger. Satellites, long dormant, flickered with sudden light. Star systems that had been quiet for centuries began emitting faint pulses, almost like a heartbeat echoing across space. Reports came from the edges of the sector. Probes had vanished. Patrols had returned damaged, and some alien pilots claimed to see ships of light moving faster than anything known. Whispers spread of ghost fleets, controlled not by alien hands but by the unseen guidance of something far older and wiser. General Tharek demanded an explanation. What is happening out there? He growled. Are these humans? Are they alive? Vaynar shook his head. I do not know. Perhaps not as we imagine life. Perhaps as we imagine possibility itself. Humanity may exist in ways we cannot yet perceive. The realization unsettled the entire alliance. For the first time, they faced the possibility that their dominance was not absolute, that the galaxy was not theirs to command, that a species they had dismissed as myth had left a legacy far beyond their understanding. Late one night, as Vaynar walked among the ruins, he noticed a subtle change in the energy pulses. They had grown stronger, more deliberate. The crystals hummed, vibrating gently against his hands. The patterns of light shifted, forming shapes and symbols that seemed almost alive. Then a voice, not recorded, not projected, but felt within his mind, spoke again. You have come. You have seen what remains. Will you honor it? Or destroy it? Vaynar felt a surge of understanding. The message was clear. The humans had tested them, studied them, observed them. And now the galaxy's current rulers were being measured. Were they intelligent enough, careful enough to survive what was to come? The following day, the alien fleets began to reconsider their actions. Instead of dismantling the ruins, some ships positioned themselves as protectors. Scholars pored over the maps, searching for more hidden markers, more messages left behind by the humans, but fear still lingered. Tharek and others could not shake the sense of threat. If they are alive, if they return, none of us can stand against them, he muttered to a trusted aide. Vanar, however, approached the situation with patience. It is not about fear, he said. It is about understanding. Humanity has left warnings, yes, but they have also left hope. If we learn from them, if we follow their guidance, we may survive and perhaps thrive in ways we cannot yet imagine. As the days passed, the ruins continued to reveal secrets. Holographic projections of star systems, ships, and planets activated when approached. Sensors detected faint energy streams moving faster than any known technology. The Ketheri began to realize that they were not discovering merely the remains of a civilization. They were stepping into the remnants of a species that had mastered the stars and left instructions for those who followed. And somewhere, far beyond the known reaches of the galaxy, faint signals pulsed in the darkness, not audible, not visible, but powerful enough to be felt. The humans were not gone. They were simply waiting. Vanar looked at the stars, feeling both awe and apprehension. The galaxy had believed it was quiet, that its rulers were supreme, but the ruins had spoken. Humanity's warning was clear, and the pulse of their legacy stretched across the void. The alien fleets had believed they ruled the galaxy. Now they had begun to understand how little they truly knew, and in the distance, faintly, the heartbeat of humanity's technology continued its slow, steady rhythm, watching, waiting, preparing. The galaxy was about to remember that humans were never truly gone. The ruins on the edge of the Ketheri sector had long since begun to captivate the alien scholars. Elder Vanar and Lyria had uncovered star charts, colony markers, and energy pulses that hinted at something far greater than any living species they had ever known. Yet nothing could prepare them for what came next. It began slowly, almost imperceptibly. Alien scouts patrolling near the outer colonies reported strange anomalies. Communications scrambled, sensors overloaded, and lights that moved faster than any known vessel. Initially, these were dismissed as technical errors. Yet as days passed, the anomalies grew more frequent and more structured. Then, one morning, a small scouting ship disappeared entirely. No distress signal, no debris, nothing. It simply vanished. Panic rippled through the fleet. Generals and admirals demanded explanations, but the scholars only shook their heads. The ruins, they suspected, were somehow connected. It was Vanar who first realized the truth. As he stood before the central crystal in the ruins, the pulsing energy intensified. Lines of light stretched from the planet, reaching across the void toward distant stars. They formed patterns so precise, so deliberate, that Vanar could only describe them as messages. These are not just warnings anymore, he told Lyria, his voice low and tense. They are active. They are communicating? With us, Lyria's eyes widened. Communicating? But with what? We have no transmitter. No signal source. Not with us, Vanar said. With everything. With the fleets, with the satellites, with the systems humans once inhabited, they are awakening. The ruins were never passive. They were dormant until we arrived. The first clear sign came hours later. Alien sensors detected a pattern of lights moving near the sector's edge. At first, the fleet assumed it was a meteor storm, but the lights moved with intelligence, forming shapes in space that mirrored the star maps etched into the ruins. They were precise, deliberate, and undeniable. General Tharek stormed into the observation room. What is that? Explain it immediately. Vanar hesitated. We are witnessing the activation of human technology. These lights, they are not ships in the traditional sense. They are data, energy, and patterns made physical. They are ghosts in the data. The general's frown deepened. Ghosts? Are you saying humans are controlling this? Are they alive? Vanar shook his head. Perhaps not alive as we understand life. But they are present. Their legacy is present, and it is far more powerful than anything in our fleets. The fleet watched in awe and fear as the lights began to coalesce. Holographic projections appeared in space, showing images of human ships, sleek, elegant, and unlike any design known to alien engineers. Their surfaces shimmered with a subtle glow, and as they moved, they left trails of light that formed patterns, almost like signatures across the stars. Lyria stepped closer to the observation window. They are not attacking, they are showing themselves, demonstrating, communicating. Communicating what? Asked one of the junior officers. Perhaps a warning, Vanar replied. Or perhaps a reminder. Humanity is letting us see, but not yet fully revealing themselves. They are testing us, measuring us, observing our reactions. Panic spread through the Alliance's fleets. Some commanders wanted to fire immediately, to destroy what they could not understand. Others hesitated, sensing that aggression might trigger consequences they could not anticipate. Then came the first direct contact. A projection of a human appeared above one of the outer colonies. Not flesh and blood, but a shimmering hologram. The figure was calm, confident, and spoke in a voice that resonated in every mind nearby, bypassing the need for translation devices. You believe you rule, it said, yet you are only caretakers of what was left behind. We built these paths. We guided your steps, and now we watch how you walk them. The message struck the council like a thunderbolt. Generals paled, scholars gasped, and even Vanar felt a shiver run down his spine. Humans had once walked the stars, shaping the galaxy, and now their legacy was returning to judge those who had claimed dominion in their absence. The alien fleet scrambled. Some attempted to intercept the ghostly ships, firing energy pulses and missiles. Yet the human projections responded effortlessly. The pulses of light reshaped space around them, bending energy and matter in ways the aliens could not comprehend. Weapons failed, sensors malfunctioned, ships were pushed back as if the very fabric of space itself were under human control. Lyria grabbed Vanar's arm, her face pale. They are not fighting, she whispered. They are testing. They are showing strength. And patience, Vanar nodded. And they are teaching. The humans left instructions everywhere. The ruins were just the first step. Now their systems are active, communicating with us directly. They want us to understand. As night fell on the planet, more projections appeared. Across nearby stars, alien fleets reported sightings of human fleets moving faster than thought, leaving patterns in space that mirrored maps in the ruins. Some ships vanished entirely, only to reappear in locations far beyond where physics should allow. The Alliance realized that the humans' legacy was not just technological, it was strategic. Every ship, every energy pulse, every projection was designed to test, guide, and warn. Humanity had prepared the galaxy for their return, and no empire had yet reached the level of understanding required to fully grasp their intent. Amid the chaos, Vanar convened the scholars. We must study this carefully, he said. They are not here to destroy us. They are here to see if we are capable of understanding. We must not act out of fear. We must observe, learn, and adapt. That is the only way to survive. But fear was difficult to control. General Theric could not sleep. Every report of disappearing ships, every sighting of ghostly fleets, every new holographic message reminded him that humans were not gone. They were simply patient. And patience, as the generals knew, could be more dangerous than rage. In the following days, the ruins continued to awaken. Crystalline archives activated in sequence, sending information across the sector. Alien fleets discovered that the ruins were interconnected. Systems long thought dead began transmitting faint signals, linking worlds and relaying data across light years. It was a network designed by a species whose intelligence dwarfed anything the aliens had ever known. Lyria translated more of the messages. They are teaching, she said. Not only their history, but how to manage a galaxy. Resource allocation, planetary stewardship, technological balance. It is all here, but only for those willing to understand. Vanar nodded. And for those who are not, there are warnings. Tests. Failures in other systems suggest that the humans anticipated empires that would misuse power. The revelation shook the Alliance. They had believed the galaxy was theirs, that the stars bowed to their fleets. Yet now they faced a truth that changed everything. They were children compared to a species that had once mastered the stars, left a legacy and returned not as conquerors, but as observers. By the end of the week, the ghostly fleets had expanded across multiple star systems. Every projection, every signal, every light pattern carried a message. The galaxy is not yours. It belongs to those who respect its history, those who learn from the past, those who survive the test. Vanar walked among the ruins alone. the hum of the crystals echoing in his mind. He could feel the presence of humanity everywhere, in the pulse of the stones, in the energy streams of the stars, in the ghostly projections moving faster than thought. They are not gone, he whispered to himself. They never truly left, and soon we will see them again. The galaxy, which had believed itself quiet, realized that it had been listening all along, and now humanity's ghosts were speaking. The aliens had thought they ruled, but the ghosts in the data were about to remind them that the galaxy had once belonged to humanity, and perhaps still did. The galaxy had grown restless. Faint pulses of energy now stretched across star systems like invisible highways, connecting ruins, satellites, and dormant human installations. Alien fleets could not explain what they were seeing. Systems once thought dead now hummed with activity. Lights moved faster than thought, forming patterns that only a human mind could have designed. Elder Vaynar stood on the observation deck of the Cathari flagship, watching one of the projections slowly take shape. It was larger than anything they had seen before, a holographic map showing dozens of star systems, planets, and colonies. The projection pulsed rhythmically, almost as if it were alive. They are everywhere, Lyria whispered beside him. Not just here. Across the galaxy, hidden, dormant, waiting. Yes, Vaynar said. They prepared everything. Every ruin, every archive, every beacon. It is all part of a network. They were patient. Unimaginably patient. And now we are awakening it. General Tharek clenched his fists. We are meddling with forces we cannot control. These humans, if they still exist, they will see everything we do. They already do. Vaynar replied calmly. The ruins were not just for us. They were tests. To see if younger species could survive. To see if we were worthy. The first direct contact came suddenly. A massive vessel, sleek and glowing with soft blue energy, emerged from a starless void. No weapons fired. No engines roared. It floated silently as if it had always been there. The alien fleet scrambled to identify it, but every attempt to scan it failed. A holographic projection appeared above the vessel, a human figure, calm and confident, yet radiating authority. It spoke in a voice that echoed directly in the minds of the alien leaders. You have awakened what we left behind, the figure said. You have found our ruins, activated our systems, and begun your test. You have not failed yet. But know this, the galaxy is not yours to command. It belongs to those who understand it, who respect it, who survive it. The council chamber fell silent. Generals and admirals stared at one another, unable to move. They had believed themselves supreme, the rightful rulers of the stars. Now they realized that their understanding was incomplete. In the following days, more vessels appeared. They did not attack, but their presence was undeniable. They moved with elegance and speed beyond comprehension, leaving trails of light that formed messages in the void. Every fleet that attempted to approach them found itself gently pushed back, guided along paths designed by unseen hands. Vaynar and Lyria studied the patterns. These are not weapons, she said. They are lessons. They are showing us what we lack, what we must learn. Yes, Vaynar agreed. And if we fail to learn, there will be consequences. The humans built this galaxy not just to survive, but to test the worthiness of those who follow. Reports came from the outer systems. Alien ships that ignored the ruins were disappearing. Some reappeared, their crews shaken and confused, speaking of lights that bent space, voices in their minds, and fleets that seemed to vanish and reappear elsewhere. Others did not return at all. Fear spread like wildfire. Tharek called an emergency meeting. We cannot continue blindly, he demanded. If these humans are still alive, we are no match for them. We must either retreat or prepare for war. Vaynar's eyes were steady. War is not the answer. Understanding is, they are testing, not attacking. If we act in fear, we fail. If we act with patience, we may survive, and even prosper. The alien fleets hesitated, torn between fear and curiosity. Meanwhile, the ruins continued to pulse, projecting messages across the sector. Each message was a combination of history, technology, and guidance. Systems long abandoned came back to life, revealing hidden energy grids, advanced propulsion systems, and architectural designs far beyond the imagination of current alien engineers. Then came the most significant discovery yet. A massive vault hidden in a starless void, detected by energy readings that dwarfed anything previously encountered. It was immense, larger than the largest alien fleet station, yet untouched by time or decay. This is a ship, Vanar whispered, staring at the readings. A vessel of unimaginable size. Dormant yet fully functional. It contains knowledge, power, perhaps the very essence of humanity itself. Lyria's hands trembled as she traced the projection of the vault. It is alive, she said. Not in the way we are alive, but it is ready, waiting, watching. The council debated the implications. Some wanted to destroy it before it could awaken. Others, mostly scholars, argued for caution. Vanar spoke last, his voice calm but firm. Destroying it will solve nothing. We will not understand, and we will provoke forces far beyond us. But if we study it, if we learn, we may gain insight into a species that mastered the stars before us. That is our only chance. Reluctantly, the fleets agreed to observe rather than attack. Small drones were sent, carefully scanning the vault. As sensors approached, the surface shimmered and shifted, responding to their presence. Crystalline patterns glowed, tracing intricate geometries across the hull. The vault was not just a ship. It was a living archive, a repository of human knowledge designed to survive the ages. Then, without warning, the ship activated. Energy flared along its hull, and the void around it seemed to bend. Holographic projections appeared, larger and more detailed than any before. They showed humans traveling between stars, building colonies, guiding civilizations, and preparing systems for what was to come. The aliens realized, with a mixture of awe and fear, that humans had not merely existed, they had shaped the galaxy. Their influence was everywhere, embedded in the stars themselves, hidden in ways no alien species could have predicted. Vanar stepped forward, feeling the pulse of energy through the floor. They were never gone, he said quietly. They prepared this moment. The galaxy has been their test, and now we are part of it. The vault opened further, revealing interior sections that were inaccessible by any known alien technology. Ships of light moved within, sleek and silent, preparing for awakening. Systems hummed with life, guided by intelligence far beyond the alien fleet's comprehension. As the first human ships began to emerge, the alien fleets felt the magnitude of what was happening. These were not the ghosts or projections they had encountered before. These were the builders themselves, ships ready to return, equipped with technology that made every alien vessel look primitive in comparison. Lyria turned to Vanar, her eyes wide with realization. They are coming back. The legends were true. Humanity is returning, Vanar nodded solemnly. Yes, and we are witnessing the moment the galaxy will never forget. These are not conquerors. They are guardians, teachers, and reminders of what is possible when intelligence and patience guide power. General Theric swallowed hard. If they choose to judge us, what will happen? That depends on us, Vanar replied. If we act wisely with humility, we may survive and learn. If we act out of fear or arrogance, we will fail. Humanity's test is not of strength. It is of understanding. Across the sector, the alien fleets watched as the human vessels began to move in unison, forming patterns and signals that spoke without words. Energy streams traced across space, lighting up previously dark regions. Satellites activated, star systems hummed, and the galaxy seemed to awaken with the presence of a species long thought extinct. For the first time, the alien leaders realized the truth. They had not been alone in the galaxy. They had believed themselves supreme, but all along they had been living in the shadow of humanity's legacy. The ruins, the energy pulses, the ghostly projections, they were only the beginning. And now, the builders themselves were returning, silent yet unmistakably powerful, ready to remind the galaxy of the intelligence, patience, and strength that had once ruled the stars. Vanar gazed at the emerging fleet, feeling a mix of awe and apprehension. The galaxy had believed it was quiet, that its rulers were absolute. But in the void, in the silence between stars, humanity had been waiting, watching and preparing. And now, the moment of reckoning had begun. The galaxy held its breath. The return of humanity was no longer a theory, a rumor, or a ghostly projection. The massive human ships now moved through the star systems with calm purpose, their energy fields shimmering like liquid light. Alien fleets scrambled, trying to match their speed, their maneuvers, their knowledge, but nothing worked. Every attempt to engage failed. Every weapon was rendered useless. Elder Vaynar stood on the observation deck of the flagship, gazing at the immense vessels as they formed into a perfect formation. Sleek, elegant, precise. There was no aggression in their movements, no chaos, only control, only order, only authority. "They are magnificent," whispered Lyria, unable to keep the awe from her voice. "Yes," Vaynar replied, "but do not be fooled. They are not here to impress. They are here to remind us why they once ruled the stars, and why we must learn from them." From the largest vessel, a holographic projection emerged. This time it was not a small image, not a flickering ghost. It was immense, detailed, lifelike. Humans stood on the deck, tall and calm, their expressions composed. They did not speak in words that traveled through air. Instead, their voices entered every mind, every consciousness nearby. "You have awakened what we left behind," the leading figure said, his tone calm but firm. "For centuries we guided the galaxy, teaching and observing. You believed yourselves rulers, but in truth you have been caretakers of our legacy." Across the council chambers, generals and scholars alike fell silent. Every alien fleet, every system, every leader felt the weight of these words. The humans were not here to attack. They were here to remind, to judge, to measure, and perhaps to teach. The projection continued. "We built the paths you now walk. We seeded worlds, guided civilizations, and prepared the galaxy for those who would follow. And now, we return, not to rule, but to awaken those capable of understanding." Panic spread among the generals. Some whispered of rebellion, of escape, of hiding. Yet it was futile. The human ships moved as if space itself bent to their will. Energy fields formed protective shields around the ancient ruins. Satellites activated, and every hidden system hummed with life. Humans were not here to fight. They were here to reclaim what had always been theirs. Vaynar stepped forward, feeling the pulse of the vault beneath his feet. He understood now. Humans had never vanished. They had preserved themselves, hidden their knowledge, and prepared for a time when the galaxy would be ready, or when it would need to be reminded. "The humans are testing us," he said quietly to Lyria. "Not through battle, but through observation. Every action we take is being measured. Every choice, every step, every thought is recorded in ways we cannot perceive." Lyria nodded. "And we are failing some of their tests already. Look at Tharek, he wants to attack. He does not understand. Yet others may learn." Indeed, across the fleet reactions varied. Some alien leaders bowed in awe, humbled by the intelligence and power before them. Others trembled with fear, realizing that their dominance was built on illusions and that humanity's return rendered them inexperienced, unprepared, and insignificant. Then came the moment of clarity. The projection of humans widened to show the entire galaxy. Systems lit up, star clusters glimmered, and energy flowed along the pathways humanity had established long ago. Every planet once visited, every colony seeded, every ruin left behind, it all connected in a pattern of intelligence and care. "You see," the projection said, voice calm but resounding across all minds. "We left you freedom. You could rise or you could falter. Some of you did well, others poorly, yet all were given a chance to learn. Now we return not to conquer but to remind. The galaxy belongs to all who dare to reach for it, and to all who honor its past." The alien fleets trembled under the weight of this revelation. What they had believed was mastery over the stars was nothing compared to the patient, far-reaching plans of humans. The galaxy had not been theirs. It had been a stage, a playground, a test, for a species that had quietly waited for the moment to speak again. General Tharek turned to Vaynar, his face pale. "If they are willing to forgive." "Will they?" Vaynar shook his head slowly. "They do not speak of forgiveness. They speak of understanding. They offer knowledge and guidance. If we grasp it, we may survive. If we reject it, we fail. This is the final lesson." Across the sector, human ships moved closer to the ancient vaults. The massive vessels activated dormant systems, releasing energy that reshaped planets' atmospheres, repaired long-abandoned structures, and stabilized orbital grids. It was a display of precision and care, not of aggression. The humans had returned, and they did so not to destroy but to restore balance. Then, for the first time, physical human vessels emerged from the stasis of the vaults. Their crews, preserved in careful stasis for millennia, awakened with calm purpose. They were not young or weak. They were seasoned, prepared, and guided by intelligence far beyond the current alien species. Every movement was deliberate, every gesture measured. Vaynar watched, unable to hide his awe. Humanity was not a myth. They were not a legend. They were real. And they were magnificent. One human approached the council chamber via holographic projection, standing taller and more confident than any alien leader had ever seen. "We built this galaxy," the human said. "We guided it and we protected it. You believed you ruled, yet you walked only the paths we left for you. And now we return, not to conquer, but to remind you of what is possible when intelligence, patience, and care guide power." Some alien leaders bowed, overwhelmed by the presence of a species that had mastered the stars long before them. Others shook with fear, realizing that their fleets, their empires, their pride were insignificant in the presence of humanity. Vaynar felt a mix of awe, fear, and hope. "This is it," he whispered to Lyria. "The galaxy is witnessing what it means to be human. Not just strong, not just intelligent, but patient, wise, and careful. The galaxy was theirs once, and now it reminds us that it still belongs to them." The human projection concluded, "We return to teach, to guide, and to observe. The galaxy is vast, and it belongs to all who reach for it responsibly. Remember this, and you may yet thrive. Forget it, and you will falter. The choice is yours." As the humans withdrew their projections and returned to their ships, the galaxy seemed to exhale. Systems hummed with renewed energy. Ruins glowed with hidden knowledge. Satellites and starways moved as if alive. Humanity had returned, not with conquest, but with presence. And the galaxy understood for the first time what it had always feared, and hoped that humans were always meant to be extraordinary. Elder Vaynar turned to the council. "They have spoken," he said. "The galaxy believed it was theirs. But the truth is, we have been living in the shadow of humanity's ruins all along, and now we are finally aware of the responsibility, the knowledge, and the patience required to survive alongside them." Across the stars, the human fleet continued its silent patrol. Their presence was a reminder of a species that had once ruled, that had left its mark in every system, and that had waited patiently for the right moment to return. The galaxy would never be the same, and somewhere, deep in the void, humanity's heart pulsed steadily, patiently, reminding all who observed that the stars had once belonged to them. And in many ways, they still did. The galaxy had believed it ruled. Humanity spoke first.